Good doing.
But
Yeah,
man, it's
about
like I
this
say,
competition stuff, it's a pity that we waste like the energy to the inner fighting in the bubble instead of using this energy to make push bigger. But yeah, it's a part of the nature of us humans, and it makes better products in the end. So those products which will survive or point out, these products are really good then.
yeah, I mean it's the nature of business in general. So like I spoke about and watching what happened, especially with shady gangsters and how they dealt with each other in the security industry. But I've even had it in the fitness industry. So I run like a small private gym in a fairly small town with two big government funded um, gyms in it. And there was like an incident that happened. It wasn't directly related to me, but then coordinated attacks. I actually mentioned this in the team chat. Said to Hexy that I would talk to him about it a bit more when I saw him. But I experienced something even just with my little gym because which is crazy because I was threatening, like I was appearing above them in Google search and because I was doing all my SEO and everything correct. And these people felt threatened. So when this incident came about, I started to get coordinated attacks on my Facebook business page. Yeah, and the thing, the worst thing about it is that the shit they were going on about wasn't even directly related to me, but it was used to try and destroy my business. This was before the pandemic happened. So yeah, it was used to try and destroy my business, like completely wipe me out, which was super interesting. And I've also experienced stuff in my personal life in a very similar manner. So, when you can recognize these patterns, like as soon as, like especially after the second attack, I started to see the timings, certain things happening all at this, all in a certain patterns, all in the same pattern of how it happened when specific incidences, came around. It's like boom, attack. You know what I mean? Just keep suppressing you and putting you down and all that sort of stuff. Like when you know these patterns and you can see these patterns and you've experienced these patterns, it's glaringly obvious what's been happening, and that's what makes me quite bullish. Because guess what? My fucking little private gym is still fucking kicking and still doing better work than those fuckers could ever dream of doing.
K9,
Yeah.
can you speak to the fact with regarding to...
Sorry, one. Can I just interrupt 1 sec? Can you guys just go test the app.9inch.io, see if it works for you?
Yeah. Is there?
I'm on mobile. I'm gonna take
Fresh.
4 minutes.
Not on my side.
Can you try incognito, Bednar? You should know how to go incognito. Do the like 5 times.
Okay, so it works for me on mobile. I'm
Can
checking
I-
both
yeah.
screens.
Hey guys, I'm on a MacBook Pro, and I've just gone out of the temporary link and into the app.9inch.io, and I'm able to connect my wallet. So is that what you need, Akino, to know that someone can connect the wallet?
Yeah, we just get up the site. That sounds like you're good.
Yeah.
Even my often used incognito mode doesn't work.
Maybe you used out all your incognito.
I'm
It's
not
not
in.
working incognito for me either.
All right, so it's a kind of as I suspected. It will kind of work for each and every one of you at like some point soon now. So the name servers are just getting updated. I think it shouldn't take too long before we can announce it and it should work for everyone.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, I put 48 hours just to be sure. That's like a maximum time it should
Yeah, I
take
know.
for the
I
whole
think
world
that's
to
good.
be able to use it.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
good
kind of the
to just
default
stretch
even
it
for name
to
servers.
days, you know. Like you might have the last server in the world to connect to this, but it should be fine.
I have a
Very
few questions.
incognito is gonna be the last one.
Kina, Kanan, did you guys add the Cloudflare? Not that I know what it is, to be fair, but I was just.
I love your honesty, but yes, we hosted everything on Cloudflare, so it's windy up here. Yeah, we have actually the temporary link is on Cloudflare already. We just had some issues doing it now today because we're under attack. Like that means not even if you can't reach the website, then we can't reach the server. So that's an issue. If these things were easy, you know, like it would be done in a minute. But these things are actually hard. It takes some time. But now we should be completely like fully protected from each and every attack. I mean, if they manage to attack us now, then I'm really impressed by these guys. Like fucking hat off. But it shouldn't happen.
So should we officially change the logo to the content of the 9-inch? Or
I
should we
mean,
just
if they
keep it
bring
as
our side down again, we might as well just join these guys because we can't beat them then. Nah.
I have a few questions I'd like to founders, if I may.
Go on.
Go ahead, Dr. Gynecologist.
Yes.
Prepare,
This question's
prepare to call me good doctor in this chat, please.
I see both founders in a room here. So just a few questions for you guys. Number one, I'm looking at a liquidity pairing, specifically BBC. The pairing of BBC is rather thin in this liquidity pair compared to your 9-inch USDC, 9-inch USDT, or the Pulse 9-inch pairing. When in fact, that you want this pair to be very thick because you want to incentivize other people to come in and play. This pair initially is going to serve more or less a dump token, not because I think it will be, but that's how the general formula has been. So in order for me to really, really incentivize the outsiders to come and play, that pair liquidity should be very thick. But in fact, this pair has been the thinnest among all besides the newly added farm. Can one of the founders address about the concern here and what the outlook would be on the plan of thickening up this pair?
Well, I can just comment real quick that if you think the liquidity is thin, that's relative. I'm guessing you're looking at the BBC USDC or something.
Yes, relative comparison, not absolute number.
That doesn't matter in the sense of like, what would you say is a thicker liquidity? If you look at the 9-inch BBC liquidity, I didn't look myself lately, but last time I looked is about 800,000 there or something.
So what I'm not talking about absolute numbers. I'm talking about relative comparison. So this number should be thicker.
I'm talking about like if you look at the stable pair, that might seem thin, but then you can look at another BBC pair and you'll see that it's got some pretty hefty liquidity in it.
Again, I'm not talking about absolute numbers. I'm talking about relative comparison. And what I mean about relative comparison is the stable pair should be less than a BBC pairing of the 9-inch because when doing the initial pairing, one of the big things I see is that rapid drop. And then I also understand that this ties into emissions of 10 BBC per emission block. That's another separate issue I would like to address on later on. But the issue in hand is the observation is that the pairing of BBC to 9-inch, it's thin in relative comparison, not absolute numbers, might I remind you, but in relative comparison to other pairs, when the when the incentivization to thicken this pair would be the optimal way of inviting and having other people to participate in the system, because people want to come in if you have enough liquidity on that pair so that it will serve as a protection against the dump. Which leads to my question on what is the plan on thickening about this pair. Now, one of the things I have thought about is add on another, so this is all spitting, I'm spitball here, all right? I'm giving ideas, I'm giving constructive criticism as well. But one of the things is you see that big rapid drop on the percentage went from 10,000 to 4,000. And upon immediate launch of the BBC 9-inch pairing. Now, we can say however we want, but the fact of the matter is that BBC pairing is stealing the allocation from other pairs. And this step is actually, in my opinion, causing people to leave the stable form pair, come into the BBC pair, when in reality, one might want to be thicken that pair by adding even more BBCs per emission. I am even thinking about one of the solution would be pairing up another BBC emission per block of 10 BBC emission per block to the BBC pairing so that you're not stealing from other pairings. But that is just my observation. And I've been really trying to get this point across. And I have a really, really hard time in reaching the devs or the core team. Since everyone's here today, there are many, many questions I'd like to ask you guys. These are the initial few. And I would appreciate if someone can give me an intelligent answer on how to go about this.
I mean, I don't think I can give you like an intelligent answer how you can go about this. Like, we obviously have a plan with this, but that's not something. I'm not gonna share that in here, like to a selected few in the voice chats. We're gonna go on with the plan we set for like both 9-inch and BBC, and part of that plan will also be community influenced. But now in the beginning weeks, we already have a plan. I think we're gonna stick to that and see how that one plays out.
Yeah, and also consider that we are 2 weeks old. And our whole pitch from the beginning was we are a more dynamic and flexible DEX than PulseX. We're very similar to them, but we also can move faster and change things faster. And as I said, we've been up for 2 weeks. So yeah, expect volatility, and that's it. I mean, we are further out the risk curve for sure. So that goes both ways, right? Like, the FUD is going to be very strong, and the FOMO is going to be even stronger.
I mean, I get it. Like, people are kind of panicking when candles turn green. People turn into panic mode, and it's understandable. But if you're really in it for like the long-term play, you would look at the numbers and like what's important. So what are the tokenomics of 9-inch? Is the buy and burn that's dependent on the volume that's going on the DEX. Our volume, I would honestly say it's better than I expected to be, like so fast. I didn't think we're gonna gain so much traction in the community like immediately.
Way better, way better. I mean, sorry for interrupting, but just think about the level of FUD, like even if it's legit or not, but the amount of FUD and hate we're getting, and we still have these numbers, it's pretty amazing.
Yep.
Let me make another observation here. The fact of the matter,
we were very bullish on the PulseX tokenomics, but the reason we saw a need for 9-inch is because we're a different type of product than PulseX. So we say, all right, if we can bring in a different crowd to this DEX, if we have volume, we will also have our buy and burn. So if you look at the numbers, we have about 7% of PulseX total supply. And we're making more than 10% of the volume that PulseX is doing. So we're actually burning much faster rate than PulseX is doing. So it's basically a leverage on PulseX, to be honest. Like it's, I think this is what the most people like gets turned on about. Like if they don't know about Pulse Chain, they don't know about 9inch. The easiest way to explain it to someone is like right now it's the second DEX of a new layer 1. So you can immediately translate that. Okay, the sushi of Ethereum, the buy swap of Binance Smart Chain, then comes the 9inch of Pulse Chain. We just managed to maintain that part. I think we're gonna outperform most of the projects by far.
Point that you know, when the 9inch token came out, there was a large quantity already created, but with the BBC token, it's much thinner on the ground because it's being created, and like, you know, and K9 said that the project's only been live for 2 weeks, and the BBC token has only been being generated for 2 weeks. So it would stand then that, you know, the supply is much smaller at the moment. Is that right? I mean, that's what pops into my mind.
Yes. So far, so good.
You're still there, good doctor, and please share the rest of your thoughts. I've been in here for the last week or two with you, so I know you've got a lot on your mind, and it will make for good discussion and topics. So whatever else you've got, dude.
Gynecologist, you had further questions?
Yeah.
Yes. The following questions and observation as well. In the sequential events that's been going on, well, first of all, I'm a very active participant. I sacrifice, and I'm still very much within the system. However, with that being said, there's things that I understand everyone is talking about. The DEX has been 2 weeks. I understand that there are human errors. I understand that we all human. I get all this, right? I get all this. I don't even have any issues on that. But what I do have issue on is, let's talk about one more thing, because there are things that has been happened, and I understand that you guys are addressing this as much as you can, but I think there are few things along the way that would deserve a much better, a more reactive time frame on solving the problem. And I don't know if this has been recognized right away. Let's give one more observation. When the first DEX launched on the Pulse side, I have almost never seen such a great attraction to this DEX in a immediately short amount of time. And I want to say that within a 24 to 48 hours before the BBC pair came out, it has attracted somewhere in the range, specifically Pulse side, around 25 million on total volume locked, I think, or 27.
That's not true. That's not possible. Where are you getting that number from? That's not based in reality.
I was looking at the website. It says TVL, total volume locked. All right. So, but either way, now correct me if I'm wrong here. All right. I'm only getting this from the website itself, the official website for 9inch. Upon immediately the launch of BBC pairing, immediately there were massive exits of this of people that has been participating in the farming or the total volume lock, that it went down to 15 million or 13 million. Then again, I am only quoting you this because I see this on a website. Now, unless you have other information that you can present to me, that's what I'm going to go by, just based on my observation. And this also leads me to think about what is the reason on why so thinning of the liquidity in all of a sudden. And so my question to you is, has there been any thoughts on why this happened, and reflect on, are there any improvements on your strategy? But most specifically, the way I look at this is that this is the fundamental problem on 10 BBC per emission within the first 48 hours. But upon launching of the BBC pair, you don't have another separate BBC per emission. And that's when you have a massive exodus from there. And that's when you have a rapid drop in people coming out of the farm because of that. Now, since I have the core team in here, can someone address to me of that concern that I have? Is that a legitimate concern? Am I seeing these wrong numbers differently? Can someone address to that issue?
I honestly, I really don't know what the question was. Like, you're asking why the liquidity was there and why it got thinner. I mean, you're just describing the markets, I guess. I don't think anybody could make sense of it. If you could, you'd be a very, very rich man, because then you could predict what's going to come next. But like, again, where are your concerns coming from? Are you looking at the chart? Are you looking at the price, seeing that the candles are red, and then asking yourself what's wrong and trying to find like logic to it? Because that, trust me, man, that will never work. Like, that's you're on a wild goose chase or whatever you call it.
I'm not concerned on the candles turning red. I'm concerned about the fundamental strategies that's being deployed here. That was my concern.
But you talked about like the BBC liquidity was thick in the beginning and then it got thinned out. Has nothing to do with like.
Let me rephrase this.
Yep.
Let me tell you what I think. I think that if you have another separate BBC per emission 10 block set aside upon immediate launching on this pairing, they would not incentivize people to leave. This will retain within a total volume lock on the initial deployment of the BBC pairing. That is the point I'm trying to get at.
Your meaning is that if we raise the amount of rewards that's given to the BBC pair, that will like make stuff better?
What I'm alluding to is that if that's correct, if people don't shave off from the USDC pair into the BBC pair, and if you just replenish that, I understand this inflation going on. But the way I see it and observe it is by deploying this technique. That, again, I am not fudding here. I might remind you, I am still a very active participant in here. All right. I am just trying to go back and
I'm not saying you're fudding or anything, but yeah, I want to hear you out. Like, I really want to hear what you want to get across.
Yes. So when you have my observation of and this is an observation from me, my observation on why you have a liquidity, or there is such a thinning of the liquidity in a total volume lock, immediate launching of the BBC pair, is people see that the rate of the drop on the BBC pairing, it dwindles down so fast within minutes. Also, and this is observation here, Also, you
Yeah, but
also see
what is your question? It's very difficult to answer because you have to like give us a clear question to get a clear answer.
my
So
question
can
to
you try?
you is my question to you is, do you think that there is a issue on 10 PBC per emission block that is being shared by everyone, as opposed to coming up with a alternative strategy that you could have more BBC per emission on the launch of of the BBC farming? That is the question I'm asking. That do you think that in retrospective, when you go back and deploy the strategies, if you deploy the strategy of another method, you would keep the liquidity in as opposed to a thinning of liquidity?
You wouldn't know that, man. Like you don't know which outcome would be if you would change the stuff. And frankly, like adding more rewards, I don't think is a solution to any. Like basically, you're coming with the same solution that Jerome Powell and these guys are kind of trying to battle of. That we don't want to print more money. That's never the solution. Like giving people just more rewards is not a solution. You don't know if that would make the liquidity stay or not. You're just speculating now on markets. It's not a question you'll ever get an answer to. We can sit here and speculate, like I'm gonna need a few bottles of wine for that, but we're never gonna come to a conclusion.
All right, thank you for your answer.
Yeah, agree. And I go back
Seriously.
to the fact that we're 2 weeks old, and I don't think we have the true discovery yet of what is a good balance to have in terms of rewards. It's something we learn as we go. So it's very tough to determine that at this stage, especially if you compound it with the issues that we're having with the DDoS attacks and stuff. So we're not really seeing the true market value. Like we're getting a very distorted view of both price and sentiment of both BBC and 9inch right now. But I get your question now, and I get your concern, but it's not as easy as you think to sort of like get a number straight off the bat right now at this point. But I really like that we have a DEX, that we have a community that is able to convene and like have these discussions, right? It's really refreshing to have that. I think this is something that really people want to talk about, and I'm really glad that Potion finally has a project like this where we can do this.
I like the questions of that guy, and it would be good if you have another question, then ask it. But can you shorten it, please, a bit, so others have a chance to ask some questions too.
I will leave the floor open. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Cheers.
Any other question?
When voting?
You
Bro,
mean
one thing
on
at
the
a
DEX,
time.
not on Telegram?
Oh, that was the quickest when I ever heard. Well, we're gonna have some more fun stuff coming up before voting. We're gonna have the PoolSec signal staking, some hex farms, and maybe some more DDoS attacks. Who knows? Like, and then voting.
When DDoS meme coin deployment. Pretty good ticker.
I would make it and airdrop it to the attackers if I had their wallet.
And that would just be fucking amazing. Make that meme coin, airdrop it to the attackers.
they're people too, you know.
Guys, I'd be really interested to see if as these attacks keep on happening, if the price keeps going or goes down for a while more, even though it's gone down loads, I just wonder who's going to come in and scoop up the tokens that people sell off, the large sell-offs, because it just reminds, because I just see it like there's two different things going on. It's a bit like oh gosh, what was that kids program where the wizard was behind, the Wizard of Oz, where it ended up like there was the wizard behind this great big machine that was running everything. And I just see, like, I just remember with Hedron, when Hedron first launched, there wasn't DDoS attacks, but there were other attacks, and those attacks left it, where most people don't look is the liquidity pools, do they? And how the liquidity pools are, sort of like how they're working. And with Hedron, it was like this great big, was it a buy wall or a sell wall was put up, and it just stopped it from taking off. And so it took a very big whale to do something like that to Hedron. And it was just really interesting watching how these big games go. And it's not even games, is it? It is different forms of attack or a strategy of attack that happen in the background as well as in the foreground. It's just I just find it quite interesting that people are having to do things like that in this environment when there's only a small percentage of people on the planet. I mean, like when you zoom out properly, not just from the project that you're in, but when you actually zoom out properly and you see what's actually going on the planet, crypto has such a small place within the whole asset sphere, and it just I just wish that everyone would just bloody well get on and put all the energy that they're putting into pulling each other down into bloody pulling each other up and just getting crypto out there more, because that's the most important thing really at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? It just blows my brain that people are being so freaking short-sighted and cutting off their noses to spite their faces, really. But anyway, that's my rant over.
Real, let me start off by saying that I agree with you, big picture. But like, even although me as a founder, obviously, I'm one of the most like deeply affected by all this bullshit that's happening, right? But I still see it as a positive, and I'm not trying to spin a narrative or anything. I really think this is true. Is that the fact that we are getting DDoS and we have a pretty good idea about who is doing it. And the thing you're saying about competition, that we should be like pushing it out rather than fighting within ourselves. But look at it this way. Why are people fighting within the community? It's because the community is worth fighting over. It has value. So it's a natural thing that people want to take market share. And if all this stuff that's going on with 9inch, if this happened to a project that is not 9inch, but some other projects in the community, I won't name them, but you can probably just take a pick. They would not get even 95, they wouldn't even get a tenth of the attention of the FUD, because people don't really care about those projects. The fact that we are getting all the brunt of the FUD and the loudmouths like hating on us is because people care about our product. We have the most engagement, probably not the number one in Pulse-Chain, I would say. It's 9inch. So the old adage that there's no such thing as bad news. It's kind of true in this case, and especially in crypto. You don't, if you have to choose between no news or bad news, you choose the bad news, because once those bad news are gone, you still have all the attention, right? The attention is the number one key metric, I think, in crypto, if you're gonna make it or not. And for now we have all the attention. That means people care, and when the tides turn, the FUD will turn to FOMO. That's how I see it. And to as a final point, this is also very bullish, not just for 9inch, but for Pulse Chain, because it means that we kind of like went from the stage where Pulse Chain is such a small product that nobody really gives a shit about, into something that's growing massively, so that it's worth fighting over, as I said in the beginning. So I think that's, even though it sucks for us, especially as 9inch founders and everybody who is like invested and engaged in our product, it sucks right now. But if you like zoom out and take a look, like, why is this happening? It's because Pulse Chain is a chain in a community that's worth fighting over. So I think it is a positive sign that Pulse Chain is a very, very important thing in crypto. So yeah, I see it as a positive thing, because I know that it is a temporary problem, and people are looking at it as a permanent thing, which is completely wrong. But that's usually how crypto works. Like you always exaggerate the red candles, and you always exaggerate the green candles. So yeah, but I agree with your point generally, big picture.
I can see where you're coming from, and it's a good perspective. It's just that everyone only has so much energy and time in a day, and it would just be great if everyone was being productive, rather than. And I'm not saying that you're not, and I'm not saying that Kino or anyone in the team isn't, but think about all that energy that is having to go into dealing with all the naysayers, and wouldn't it be better if that energy was being used productively? Even if you think about it, you bring it down to one person has 1 hour a day, and they spend 45 minutes responding to people that are fudding, whereas that 45 minutes could have been actually 45 minutes of creating content and actually doing outreach. So do you see what I'm saying? There's that, but then they only have 15 minutes to do that because they've spent 45 minutes dealing with the FUD. And I totally get. I come from marketing. I completely understand that all news is good news, right? Or all whatever is good news. Yes. As long as you've got people that there's enough people out there that are balancing out, and balancing out the negative with the positive. If it's all just negative, then whatever you try and do, if the negative is way outweighing the positive, then it's.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but
yeah,
but it's all negative, but it's concentrated to a finite amount of time. So it might be all negative, but it's temporary. It's not all the time, right? So it's you have to look at it as like an ebb and flow. Like there are moments when everybody's like super bullish on 9inch, and there's no, it's just green pastures, no wall of worry, no nothing. And then all of a sudden it's the opposite. It's kind of like a sinus wave. That's just how it's kind of like a law of the universe. It's not something that you should fight. You should just, if you have a quality thing, then your journey is going to be up and to the right, but it's going to be like in a wave formation. So yes, you're right. There should always be a balance, of course, but it's not that the balance is like you should have 50% positive people and 50% negative people all the time in a static line. That's not how it works. It works like this. You have 100% positive people one time, and then the next day you have 100% negative people, and it works like that. That's the balance.
And it's
Yeah.
good for me. I do workouts while I'm dealing with others. I clean the house, I clean my gym, all at the same time when I'm dealing with these people. Contrary to popular belief, men can multitask.
Yeah, and just like to bring it like home close, Krill, just to make to make you understand what I mean. Like when shit goes wrong in your life, I'm sure you will agree with this. When shit goes wrong, everything goes wrong at the same time. But when things are right, everything seems to go right at the same time. It's never like a 50-50 balance. It's always like one or the other. That's what I mean. That's something that gets really amplified in crypto. It really feels like it's magnified in crypto because it's your money at stake. It hurts
Yeah.
even more, and the glory is even greater. But it's the same concept.
John has got. There's a name for that in Norway. Is it Norway? There's a name for it. I can't remember what he called it, but it really made me laugh. That when the shit hits the fan, it's the whole lot of shit, and it just keeps on coming, doesn't it? That's right. It's like trains in the UK anyway. There's none, and then they all come at once. Or buses. Same.
Yeah, in my experience, the trains don't go at all in the UK. But it is what it is.
That's the truth.
Me and Kino were stuck in your country for like 4 fucking days. We couldn't get off the fucking island.
Yeah, and the people at the train station were so like compliant. Like, yeah, all right, so this one is not coming, I guess. Like, what?
Hexy invites us to the party, and yeah, he's just like, come on, boys, like get into the airport, quick 20 minutes in and out, Morty. And we're stuck for like 4 days, can't get out. Nearly got fucking robbed in Birmingham. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh dear. Yeah, well, the trains. Yeah, they're definitely
Nice people though.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people around, but yeah, the train system and the bus system. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. Really, nothing really works, especially on a Sunday. Scuppered if you want to go anywhere on a Sunday. Anyway.
But the country is lovely when it's not raining. So.
Well, it's one of those chicken and egg situations, though, isn't it? It's only lovely because it rains.
No.
It's lovely. It's green, beautiful,
like
and because
no rain, no flowers.
No rain, no flowers. Yeah. Flowers need
but
rain.
no sun, no flowers also. So yeah.
Yeah, true.
So it's in the UK as well. Like the UK FUD is really, really hard, but the FOMO is even harder. And it's nice.
That is true. It's true. And it's complex. It's complex. But it is what it is.
It is fucking true, man. Like you only hear bad stuff about London, but look at the like real estate prices. Everybody's trying to get in there. Like, why? Like just stabbing, like robbing.
Loads of places sit empty because they've been bought up by
and
very.
The FOMO is hard.
Hey.
The FOMO is hard. You can FUD London as much as you want, but people will still FOMO.
FOMO.
I remember from my own experience there, I rented a fucking coffin underneath a bridge in Harrow on the Hill for like 900 a month. Not going back.
Harrow on the Hill. Harrow, did you say Harrow on the Hill? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Harrow on the Hill.
I grew up near there. I actually grew up near
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you know the bridge then? Maybe you saw me. I was the guy underneath the bridge.
I do know the bridge. Yeah. There's
it's between the kebab shop and the drug dealers.
I haven't been there for decades, to be fair. I haven't been there for decades. And I didn't grow up in Harrow, I grew up near Harrow. That's so funny.
Are there any more concerns or questions or stuff we could talk about your life or about our life?
There's got to be loads because I mean there's so much going on in the chat that you'd think that now that the voice chat's open that people would want to be bringing up all of their questions.
They could say something,
I opened it last week for that very reason. And people prefer to type and complain and actually come in and express.
Yeah, you don't need to complain. You can complain. You can say whatever you want.
Yep, there's like 35 people in here, so anyone has any questions, please step up to the plate.
It's deafening.
So meanwhile, can everybody confirm that the main site is working? And let us know also if you find some wonky numbers with the APRs and stuff. Yeah, let's do that.
Working in Switzerland.
Working in Scotland.
Yeah, main site's working again. I just checked it out here in Canada.
Someone's feet.
Greetings to Canada.
Yeah. I actually do have one quick question. Are you guys planning on having more BBC pairs at some point in the future, or is it mostly going to be concentrated around the 9-inch to BBC pair?
We're definitely gonna have some more pairs up in the future. We just don't want to unload it at once. No pun intended. But we got some fun
very
stuff
much
for
intended.
BBC actually. We just people are actually, I guess, a little impatient. Like as soon as we fix the website with the guy in the voice chat, okay, when voting, like, man, easy. Like, we've been live 2 weeks. Let us have a strategy
that's just
of how
good
we're
to
gonna
show.
vote. Yeah.
And that just goes to show the temporary nature of this problem. Like how easy, how quickly people move on. Because it really is a temporary problem, which by all accounts seems to be fixed now. I don't see anybody saying that the site is not working, which is good news.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just I feel like more BBC pairs might help with the get that APY up to a competitive level, because I know there's a lot of other farms other farms out there that have higher APYs, but obviously we don't need that right off the bat. It's better to have our core investors in this for the long term, not just chasing these APYs, and then we get a nice big BBC run and the APYs start going crazy, and we can bring all those other people in. They can buy on top of us.
The analytics site is quite slow for me. Could you check that?
I think it would be quite cool, even for me, to maybe talk about the buy and burn page and something like that and how it works for people.
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity to go ahead and throw my 2 cents in worth. First of all, especially for everybody in the chat, I'd like to congratulate y'all for the diamond hands. One thing, being a pleb dex, you kind of got to, you ask for it, when you got a bunch of plebs, a bunch of degens, that's how we marketed this thing. So, it's for, at least for me, it's no surprise that when, you get a little hiccup, everybody jumps, and chases some other shiny thing. But, of the diamond hand, hex, Pulsican community, we all understand the way this game's played, and I think 9-inch has got a lot of good things going for it, and we just need to weather this thing. And we're in a bear market, and you get a little bit of a price bump in Bitcoin and everything else, and everybody gets excited and goes and tries to catch this FOMO, what's the next big thing pumping. But we all hang on. We're all gonna all our ships are gonna rise with the tide. So like I said, again, just congratulations for everybody who's holding, and the problems we're having aren't nefarious. You know, they're just software, and so you know, I'm still just DCAing in, baby.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You seem to get it. I share your opinion.
I have a question.
Go.
Go on.
When are we going to be able to or can we still stake our what is it our PP token? Is that still available, or are we planning on doing that?
No, I mean, you can do it now. If you go to the forms page, you can provide liquidity with it. Or if you just want to single stake it, you can go to the polls page, and you can do it right now. Just like millions of Americans at home.
When this website will have uptime for 99.69% for 2 weeks, I think we could see one green candle, at least. That's a hard guess.
Okay, when I'm feeling down after.
Inshallah.
Put it on the 5 minutes.
Inshallah, yeah. You're very quiet.
Yeah, your mic is a little low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the shite headset that I'm using just now.
There we go, much better.
Yeah, I need to hold it.
Air
way up
market
and down.
headsets.
Some heavy breathing.
Yo, K9, so it seems like analytics page is not loading for some.
I'm checking that out now, actually.
It's loading, but the actual data isn't. So I can see the you know, it says info and analysis. You can see the windows, but it just says loading chart data, and that's not coming in.
Yeah, that's
It's gonna come up just because we moved the service and everything today.
Okay.
yeah, it's quite nice when it's running. It's a good website.
Thank you. We made it ourselves.
Don't say it.
Gonna put it right up on the fridge.
Yeah, just be glad that you don't have me as a website builder.
How's your bridges turning out? You're building bridges, right?
Me?
Yeah, well, don't you build bridges? I don't know. Or you architect them?
Yeah, for my job. Yeah. No, I'm constructing. I'm constructing not like roads or rivers at the moment. So, yeah, no house building.
Cool.
Construct a river.
Yeah, trying to control the nature. That's like the mission of the humans since thousands of years.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Is there like a river or something that has your name on it? If you were involved.
It's we have like the same mind because I had a bet, or I have a bet with a friend of mine that we will give a method, a building method, or a part of the building the name of us. And now it seems like a fundament will be called by my name because it's a special fundament for for electricity poles. And when it goes on, we will have a fundament with my name in the next year.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And I will win the bet.
Like this during the daytime and dual poacher during night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To squeeze the system. Yeah, when you do something, it should be there for some years. When I do something, I want that people can use it for years. Yeah.
Cool, man.
But the bad thing is, you won't see it when it's built. It's underground. Only a few people will have to care about it when they dig it out in some years. So.
Oh well, you will know. That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Some will have a problem with it, but yeah. Okay, so I will stop the recording of the voice chat now. I think the most questions came. Was there some more question? So ask now. Okay, so I stop the recording.